Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. Super excited to have a fantastic conversation here with Tara and Shane out of Flagler Beach, Florida. But first and foremost, happy Friday. My name is Mike Condon. I'm the Vice President of Franchise Development here at HomeWell, and thank you for joining us today for our franchisee interview. If you guys do have any questions, a little housekeeping, please feel free to jump in the chat box and throw them down there. We typically don't do any Q&A during these, just in the essence of time and keeping everything on track. But if you do have anything you'd like answered today, please feel free to throw them in the Q&A chat box, and we'll get to those as best as we can. So with that, first of all, Tara and Shane, thank you again for joining Samantha and I here. If we could just start at the beginning, tell us a little bit about your guys' background and kind of how your journey became to become a HomeWell owner here with us today.
Well, I've been in the healthcare industry for about 28, 29 years now on the administration side. And I had originally from New Jersey, so I worked there in healthcare and then moved in Florida in 2008. Still in healthcare. My background here has been working as an EMT paramedic for Volusia County, and then the last 10 years working in a mobile radiology group where we traveled throughout Central Florida and North Florida, going into nursing homes and assisted living and private residents doing mobile imaging. So with that said, being in those type of industries and seeing those different types of clients and patients, there was a big need for home health. There's a lot of home health out there, but a lot of things just, you just always want to improve things and feel like you can be able to offer something more and better that's out there. So it's something that I've always wanted to do years ago. Just it wasn't the right timing, and now it is in my life. So Shane, he's got experience in marketing and things like that. So I think the two of us, as a team, this was a good fit for us with HomeWell.
So how did you find HomeWell, or how did HomeWell find you? Maybe what did that process look
funny?
Like?
So I was actually on the road working with my other company in the radiology department, and I was going to a nursing facility to do a contract. And I'm driving, and somebody went by me with their car was wrapped and it had like HomeWell on it. And I know I'm not familiar with HomeWell. I'm familiar with a lot of home health because just from the area. And I was like, where are they from? Because it was different. So I looked them up and realized, about the franchise. Like it all just started coming back to me. Like, this is something like I want to do. This was actually last summer around this time is when it happened, when I saw somebody. And then we just looked into it, and it just seemed like it was a good fit. And basically we went full force in September of 2022.
So Shane, when she came to you, this crazy idea of holy cow, I saw this car wrapped with a HomeWell. Let's look at it. What were your initial thoughts?
Well, at that point, I'd been with her for a couple of years, and I know her work ethic. So once she explained the details to it, how much it was going to cost to get involved, the whole process, she sold it to me pretty strong. So I was behind her. I mean, I don't know anybody that works any harder than she does. So I'm like, if you believe in it, I don't know the medical field. I've always been in sales, marketing, and business management. I don't know the medical side. She's pretty much an expert on the medical side. I'm like, this will be a good fit. So I was all in from first time she pitched it.
That's awesome. So I think a lot of folks, as they go through the discovery process with any franchise, obviously, if you have a spouse, the conversations that go on around the dinner table and are important, because I think you need to be on the same page. So as you guys did you guys go through the discovery process together? Was it more, Tara, was it you kind of leading the way and bringing information? What did that process look like for you two?
Yeah, it was more me. I was calling around just because I just knew more of the different questions to ask and kind of like pick and choose and different things, like with the different other agencies. And which was more difficult than what I thought, because a lot of them never called me back, and some I talked to, or, so it really gave me a perspective of like, okay, you're not a company that I would want to be with, because of their response back to me. But yeah, it was more me that was calling around and getting the information, and we'd sit and talk about everything.
So you go start the discovery process, and I'm happy to say that we did call you back. So that's always a win, right? We
Right.
try to be pretty responsive here. And, as you're going through the discovery process, was there anything that, I'll call it an aha moment for you guys that said, hey, this is the right fit for us? Like the business model outside of that seemed like it was probably the right fit, but why HomeWell, and why did it seem like the right opportunity for you guys to partner with us?
HomeWell's mission, the values that HomeWell holds. I did look into, I talked to maybe 10 different HomeWell owners and what their background and their experiences were, which were all basically the same. I mean, there was, not much different. I did talk to a couple people from out of state, which was their process was a little different versus Florida. But because, I'm in Florida, so I was trying to get more of their information. But I thought the support that HomeWell offers, the backing, it was just, I just felt like it was the right fit. I felt like there's always going to be somebody there for me. Some of the other companies, I mean, if they couldn't call me back or I couldn't get any information out of them, it just wasn't right for me.
Yeah. And I think as people go through the discovery process, support, training, all those things are important. But you also have to feel that you're making a great decision from a partner standpoint, right? Because any franchise you decide to join, it is a true partnership, and you have to feel that they are going to support you as much as you need to be supported to enable to grow a business.
Right. Well, so when we formed our entity, it was last September 1st of 2022. And then we started our actual licensing process in November.
Okay.
And it was 8 months before we can actually get an inspection and work with the state and everything like that. So they came out in May, end of May, and then we officially opened. Well, we were ready to rock and roll, but we actually didn't go live until July 10th. So we're going on a full month, but that whole 8 months of working with HomeWell, going over all the training, the support, making sure we succeed, making sure that we had everything. It was a great process.
Now, Shane, as did you do a lot of the trainings as well? So, a couple of the things that's always interesting to me is as people go through training, there's different parts of the business you need to learn, right? Or maybe and you just need the other support. So from your side, and not having the medical background, right? Do you feel like the support to learn at least enough to be dangerous? Because you're always learning, right? It's ever changing. Do you feel like you had the knowledge base that when you guys opened your doors, you were like, okay, I know enough that I can talk the talk, and when I need to, I'll bring Tara in to clean up the mess that I made.
Right. Yeah. So I did 5 sales trainings, and every Monday for 5 weeks, I did this sales training, and that was very beneficial, because selling to a medical facility and selling things that I've sold are 2 different worlds. So the lingo, they were fantastic. Like, I feel like I'm capable of speaking intelligently now, where I didn't know anything about medical going in. So yeah, no, they were fantastic. And as far as the support, any email you send, we pretty much get an answer back in 15 minutes. I mean, that's awesome. And then the selling point for me was talking to the other HomeWell franchise owners. They didn't sugarcoat anything. They said what was rough, what was good. And some of them, maybe have had the first 6 months were rough, and now they're loving it. They worked through the kinks, and that's just being straight up honest. They weren't telling us it was going to be easy. And I really like that part of it.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that, because we really try to, as we go through the discovery process, you are starting a business. It isn't going to be perfect, right? I don't think there's anybody out there that would claim that any business when you start it is perfect when you first get going. There's bumps in the road, not only from just working together, but also from you guys learning to be business owners. I mean, that's in of itself, it's a learning curve. And whether you've done it before or not, it's still something you have to learn in the nuances of this business. So as you guys were preparing to open, what did you guys feel you were best prepared for? Or maybe, I guess to put it, how do you feel like when you guys were opening your doors, what were the feelings like that? Well, we finally made it. The licensing process in Florida is arduous, right? We know that it's nothing that HomeWell does or anybody else. It's Florida.
Yeah.
Take the good and the bad with Florida, right? So, do you feel like you were really well prepared when you opened your doors to say, okay, we're ready to go?
Yeah. As far as like what I thought was coming, like I was excited, here we go, like everything was prepared, the office was set up. And then when we went live, like when our website went live, like all that was like on a Monday. There was a few things that we had to work out initially with that and so forth, but we did the secondary referrals, like I was ready to go. We did our training with them, the 2 different secondary referrals that we chose. But by day 3, we had like 19 calls come in. I mean, that's great, but didn't expect it. I thought like, 2, 3, 4, here or there. But within 3 days, because we weren't out in the field yet, we were just, working the system, learning the system, getting everything ready to go, how he and I are going to work together, what we're going to work on, and use that week to strategize on everything. And then all these calls just started coming in, and what I really wasn't prepared for that. But it was great. We got a couple leads from those. We got clients from a couple of those. There's a couple we lost. But learning how to work the system and to go through, A to Z basically. Now we're here going on 1 month, and we still have prospects that are still interested in us. That was from that first week. They just got things going on. But tell us, call us back. And, like I have one that we're just now setting up contract with, an agreement with from that first week, because she had things going on. So, it was just normal growing pains and learning the system. Like I think, I was up here coming in and thinking this and that, but I had to step back and look at the whole situation and kind of come up with a new plan. But really, it's been a great experience.
So one of the things that I really think is important is from a support side is the business coach, right? And Brad and his team and everything that they I believe do for our franchise owners. But I'd love to hear it out of your guys' side. How do you feel like from a support side that Brad and the franchise business coaches help support you, or what role do they play right now? And how do you feel like that is going to play out over your term here with HomeWell?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Brad, we met a lot of people at our regionals and things like that. Support people that were behind the scenes that we really didn't always talk to, maybe just through email kind of thing. But Brad has been great. He's always, was always like I used Lara as my FBC. So I was always like doing my training with her. Brad jumped on a few calls, making sure things were going well. When I hit those milestones, he was always there he was always encouragement, and oh my God, I can't believe, you did this or whatever. So that was always great. Knowing that even though he's kind of behind the scenes for me, he still kind of knew everything that was going on, which is great. And he's always out there. If we need to reach him, he's there. Lyra's always been wonderful, coaching for the 8 months, and then she handed us off when we went live. Now we're with Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And she's great also, but we just started with her since we went
Yeah.
live. So, but Lara and Kelly they both came down for, right before we opened. So they got to see the office and, we got to spend some time with them. So that was great as well.
So let's talk about your office structure just for a minute, because this is a big question that always comes up. What is your structure of your organization look like today? Is it just you and Shane, or do you have a third person as well?
In the office per se, it's just us two. So because we weren't sure how it was going to play out. So, we wanted the first month or two to let's see how much we can handle first. But like I said, now we're going on our first full month by next week. So like the other day, Shane's in the office, he's answering the calls, he's answering all that. I went out in the field and I did 3 assessments in one day.
Yeah.
So I went out there. So right now I'm going to be the one going out into the nursing homes, doing the in-home assessments, setting up the care plans and things like that. The way we have it structured is we both could be out of the office doing something. And if our phones ring at the office, it goes to our cell phones. So we're not missing any calls in the office, whether we're there or not. Okay. So I structured it that way because I didn't hire anyone to sit in the office. The reason why I also did that was I want to learn everything from A to Z. So whether I hire a scheduler, whether I hire an HR person, I mean, I do have someone in the background as HR because you need that on your application, but they're not fully working in their position at this time. I do have an RN who, is on board where they're signing off on the care plans and everything that we're doing. But as owners, like, it's just best that we learn everything, the scheduling, the care plan, like everything before we bring somebody in the office. I just felt like it would be more of a train wreck for us if we hired someone in the office. We didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
So I wanted like a month or two, let us work out the kinks and figure things out. And then we'll start hiring office staff.
Yeah. And then that goes to the flexibility, I think, within, the organization. It really depends on what you want to do, what skill sets you have. And every owner wants to do it maybe a little bit differently. So, no issues from our side on that. I think it's awesome. And I always love to hear how everybody starts off a little bit differently. And really, and then as it grows, it adds pieces as they need.
Right.
The other thing that I think is really important, obviously from a support side, is not only from us, the franchisor, but your other owners. In Florida, we have a large contingent of owners. We've been very blessed with having some great people down there. Talk a little bit about the culture of the Florida group. How do you guys interact? Talk a little bit about the camaraderie that happens down there with you guys.
Yeah. So I think it was in end of May at some point. I think it was in May. Christy down in Sarasota kind of handled that. Brad flew in for that. The CEO came in for that as well, which was nice. But we held that in Orlando, and that was just more of like a round table as far as, what's going on with us in Florida and what we can do and change, and what happens for you might not happen, so it was really great. So we do those emails. Like I had some questions the other day, and so I'll email like 3 or 4 people that I kind of have a good fit with, where, they respond back to me. They kind of help me. They know that I'm new. So they're like, oh, we did this when we first started, so don't do this, So, or how are you doing? I heard you passed your inspection. It was great, So that's really good. So they're very supportive as far as that goes. Yeah, I mean, I've reached out to them probably once a week, once every other week, if I have a question, and they all respond, because we do it in a group, like a group text, and then they'll respond back pretty quickly. Yeah. So they're very, very supportive.
That's awesome to hear. And again, obviously Florida has the grace of having, we have quite a few homeowners in Florida. But it's nice that, a lot of people think when you walk into a business like this that you're going to be competing with your neighbor or their HomeWell. And I'm getting the feeling that's not the case for you guys.
No, 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 there's no competition. There's no, there's none of that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So as we kind of wrap up here, one of the things, learning lessons, right? You're going through them, as you've gone through your training and as you've gone, now you're open a month. And do you have any words of wisdom for people that are looking at this from an opportunity standpoint, whether it be a business standpoint or just being able to help their community? Do you have any advice for them that saying, hey, here's some things you should look at in order to make a good decision if this is the right business model for you?
Do you have any input on that too?
Oh, go ahead.
No.
Turn it on.
Yeah, I mean, it has to feel right. So talk to as many owners, because there's a lot of different states, like we're doing this interview to help other people out, like, and some states are licensed states, and like Florida's a licensed state and other states are not licensed. So you can open obviously a lot quicker if you're in a non-licensed state. Licensed states are longer. So just know your state's laws and regulations. What's the requirement? That's a big thing, because our Florida state laws, like the packets like this thick, of different things. So I just really stayed in tune with that. HomeWell's really great as far as, you could do this or you could do that. As long as you stay within your scope, of the franchise, things like that. Very easy going, but you just really need to learn and know your state laws and what you can and can't do. That's a big thing, a big decision factor too. So especially if you don't have any healthcare knowledge at all, that's a big thing. But not really. I mean, like it is a really good company. I highly would recommend it. But yeah, the biggest thing is probably talk to a lot of franchise owners in their own state and feel them out.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I think that's some great advice. Part of what we like to talk about on the front end of the process is our job is to help get you to talk to owners, right? Because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are going to tell you if this is the right fit or not, or be able to answer those really tough questions that us on the front end and the development side, we're not business owners in HomeWell, right? So we don't know some of the intricacies of running the day-to-day like a Tara and Shane does. So guys, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you taking it and spending it with us. I wish you all the success, and as you guys continue to grow in the future. I can't wait for conference next year where we get to actually meet in person. So that one will be fun. And again, thank you so much for your guys' time. And it looks like we had one question that came in here.
Sure.
Oh, just a nice job. Just somebody coming in and saying you guys did a fantastic job. So with that, everybody, thank you so much. I hope everybody has a great rest of their Friday. If you guys do have any follow-up questions, always feel free to reach out to your development director or anybody here at HomeWell. We'd be happy to answer it. And with that, have a great Friday. And Shane and Tara, thanks again.
Sure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.